Okay, sorry, just got a little bit late here. I tried to call in, and I think we get a lot of calls, and I got a little delayed. They wouldn't let me in, but I'm here. So we're excited, and excuse my morning voice. It's 7 a.m. here in California, just a little bit after. I am doing a whole training today on guerrilla marketing, which is very, very, very fun. And it's not conventional, so I'm going to go make sure that you all know that there are some traditional ways you do business, and then there's some non-traditional ways that can really shake the bushes and find people. And I feel we have such a strong product that we need to really be shaking those bushes. I did a call the other night, Thursday night, that was just so exciting to me. And the reason I tell people don't miss these calls is because I got so motivated to just re-sign and, get out there and sponsoring a whole new group of people and start again. And that's what those calls do. And what I heard on that call on Thursday night was people that were brand new in the business and brand new executives and brand new directors and people that just had that fresh and new energy that we always have to keep and sustain in our businesses. I've given you an outline. Those of you who've gone to your computers this morning, there is an outline for this morning. I am recording this morning so that I can post it because I think it's a very important posting. Also, want to remind people that Monday, this coming Monday, right after Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day to all of you tomorrow. But on Monday will be our first corporate groupings of calls, and so it'll be usually the first Monday of every month, but it will be the second Monday this month with some important announcements at 9 o'clock Pacific time. So if you're East Coast, think 3 hours later, so that will be noon. That will be for the executives with the interactive call with Tony Rich and Bob Middleton. 10 o'clock following that, the Pacific time, will be a national call for all associates and above. Everybody that's involved are going to be on that call because they have a lot of new announcements that we've been working on that's pretty exciting. It's going to really start to blow out the business, and we're going to go to the next level of where momentum starts to be built. So you don't want to miss that call. Also, we still continue those blitz calls, and I'm very excited that every single night we have had 50 to 100 people on those calls, which is great. Use those calls. We utilize the executives for those calls, and each one brings something new to the table. So just get those on, your people on, fresh and exciting. So that's what we're going to work on today, is keeping that business fun. I've given you some things, and if you go to burgessbiz.com and click on the tab on the left that is Team Tips and Tools, you will see a guerrilla marketing kind of description, and then it gives you some things that you can download. And these are plaster plan flyers that I'm going to be talking to today. You've got your work from home. You've got a couple of them. What I love, the little pill one, that's one hot pill, new pill that does it all. I'm going to teach how to utilize these. And then you have some diet dollars that you can utilize. We may be tweaking the diet dollar just a little bit, but these are incentive things, and I'll tell you about that this morning. But you want to run those off, and those are to help you with this whole concept of guerrilla marketing and plaster planning it out there. Okay, so what is guerrilla marketing? One of the most important things you must do with a business is to keep things fresh and fun, and that's why I mentioned that Thursday night call. All that fresh excitement, that new excitement, you have to keep that in your business all the time, no matter if you've been in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road. You have to keep that freshness and fun into the business. Fresh means that you constantly bring in new, and the new blood is like a transfusion. That new energy takes you back to the day you sponsored into the business. You were excited and you couldn't talk to enough people fast enough. So take on that mantra, 2 a day, every day, 2 a day, every day with your sponsoring. It just needs to be, with your sampling, it needs to be a mantra. Take on, and with that, you will consistently sponsor new every week, and every month you will have a business that keeps you excited. Besides constantly sponsoring new, that's the fresh, then you have to understand what guerrilla marketing and where that comes into play and what is it. By definition, the concept of guerrilla marketing was invented as an unconventional system of promotions that relies on time, energy, and imagination rather than a big marketing budget. Typically, guerrilla marketing campaigns are unexpected and unconventional, always interactive with people, and consumers are targeted in unexpected places. The objective of guerrilla marketing is to create a unique and engaging concept to generate buzz and consequently to turn viral. You want things to just go crazy. Well, guerrilla marketing involves unusual approaches such as an intercept encounters in public places, street giveaways of V3 samples, or any unconventional marketing intended to get maximum results from minimal resources. And that comes from a definition on guerrilla marketing. I really was not that familiar with this term guerrilla marketing until I met with Tony Rich this past weekend when we were working on all these new trainings and programs and modules and different things that we're going to give away and gifts and incentives and all sorts of things. And he was explaining guerrilla marketing to me in using the sampling, the setup for the sampling thing, and I'm going to go over that in a second. And then he tried to explain that to me, and I got very excited because, you know what, I thought I've always been open to trying different things to shake the bushes to find people over the past 40 years. And besides the very basics and traditional business building with in-home meetings and face-to-face appointments, and creating and adding to your prospect list all of the time, there are some fun ways to really drum up business. First, some guidelines. There's about 5 of them here. Team up, use your team, meet and strategize, and rumble. Look at the events on the calendars for your area. See what's going on with upcoming shows, swap meets, craft shows, especially with summertime. We have a lot of those things going on. So you want to meet as a team and kind of strategically look at that. There's also a handout I did at burgessbiz.com under the team tips and tools for doing shows, and on there it will give you a website to go to find out where the big shows are. There's big shows, and then there's small shows, and there's trade shows, and there's craft fairs. I like craft fairs. I have them in here in this kind of swishy area I live of Irvine, which they call them little craft shows. And they have them quite often in the summertime. Those are great places, and we're going to talk about how to utilize that. That's the first guideline, is to team up. Secondly, you need to hold launch parties in your home, community clubhouse, or small location like a salon lobby, coffee shop, library, restaurant, buffet room, wherever you can wander in and out to see what it is you are up to as far as open house type settings. Once you're getting out there and starting to shake the bushes, you need a little place that people can come, and it needs to be kind of a warm, snuggly place. Use invites, raffle tickets, diet dollars, incentives to get people to attend. And we're going to go over specifics on that. But your business can be launched over and over again. I used to launch my business whenever it started kind of dwindling a little bit. I'd relaunch it. And that's where you just have a big party. At whatever location, your home or your team gets together at the community center or wherever you'd like to do that. Be a billboard. That's number 3, is to wear your buttons. Those are available. T-shirts are almost ready. Everywhere you go, for people to ask you what it is you're doing. What's this V3 T-shirt you've got on, or that button? You want to always be a billboard. That's the third guideline. Fourth guideline is to run ads in local small papers using the guideline sheet there under Team Tips and Tools at burgessbiz.com. And it's a specific way you do run ads. Never run them in big papers. I've done that. LA Times about killed me. I had so many calls, it was ridiculous. What you want to do is make sure that you run that in a local paper and follow the guidelines there, because you have to have a voicemail. And that's the 5th one, is to set up a voicemail to screen through the people that are going to be calling you. You never want people to call you directly into your home. You want them to call into a voicemail. And your message can be pretty much what it is on running the ads, or you can kind of tweak that and make it work whatever you're doing, which I'm going to go through. Okay, we're going to talk about the plaster plan. And this is a fun concept I came up with when I was opening new areas of business and I didn't know anyone. So I would, when I was living in Utah, in Salt Lake City, I would want to open up places like St. George, Utah, which is right 2 hours from Las Vegas. It's right out, it's very, very south. And I wanted to open that area because it's a very thriving area now. It's a very big growing area. And so I would plaster the area, and I'm going to teach you how to do that. And I'd always shake the bushes and find people to sponsor, so it's a way that works. And people have challenged me on that. I used to teach that. And a fellow, kind of a grumpy fellow that's very professional, but he said, that's never going to work. I said, I dare you to try this. So he went out and tried it, and he called me back, and he says, I apologize. I had 14 calls today. So it does work. So I'm going to give this to you. Plaster plan, this is a fun way to get someone calling you about your business and your product. Like I said, we have those plaster plan flyers. They're at burgessbiz.com under Team Tips and Tools. And you want to run these and choose which one you want. But there's either the work from home or there's one that's kind of just a brighten your moves, the orange border. I love the pill one. I really do like this one pill. One hot new diet pill does it all. And you're going to run those in bright colors. And so you're going to take that page and you're going to write your first name only, not your whole name, like Susie, and then a phone number for a voicemail, okay? And you're going to run a ton of these in bright yellow, bright neon green, and you want neon colors, bright neon, not dark colors so you can't read it, but you want bright, 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 bright. So after you've written all that on there, then you're going to run those off, and you're going to cut them. There's 4 on a page, okay? That's what you're going to do with that. And you're going to put the voicemail there because there, again, you do not want to put your home phone number on there. You don't want children picking up the phone. You don't want to just candidly hello. You want absolutely to go through a voicemail. evoice.com is what I utilize for our hotline messages. It only costs you about $4.95 a month. It's very inexpensive, and it allows you to do a 2-minute message, about 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Your message can be similar, like I said, to the one that's at the ad information at Burgess Biz, following the scripting and guidelines. Now, you're going to take a day. I love Wednesday, and I was talking to Elaine Tomero about this, is that I love to work a schedule during the week. Monday, call day, where you call everybody. You call upline, downline, customers, prospects, you book appointments. That's where you call all day long. Tuesday, I like to have a meeting, some sort of a meeting in-home, okay, whether it's in-home or in a salon or teaming up or a launch or whatever. Wednesday, I like to walk about. That just means that you get your buns off the chair, out from underneath your desk, and you get out there, meet people, gather business cards, and put up your plaster plan flyers, and really start to shake the bushes. Then, of course, Thursday I like to do appointments face-to-face, and then Friday follow up on everything that's gone on during the week, then Saturday get everybody trained. And I've always followed that schedule, and I like that schedule because it keeps me on track so that I know Monday morning that's my call day. I just know that. And I know Wednesday I'm going to go out there and meet people. So we're going to talk about that Wednesday. So you take and load up a tote or a box, depending on what you've got handy, with flyers that you've written on, printed out in bright colors and cut, some tape, stick pins, and hit the bulletin board. Community centers, apartment buildings, Walmart stores bulletin board. They have a great bulletin board. Bowling alleys, laundromats. You want to scout out your areas for bulletin boards and take a dozen flyers. That means 12, not 1. Don't put 1 on a bulletin board. You want to take a bulletin board and plaster it. You want to put at least 12 if you can get them on there. If you can't, put on 8. Okay? And there's a reason that you want them in different colors. Don't just put yellow on board. You want a yellow and orange, all different colors, but they're the same flyer. When someone looks at the board, they will overlook just 1 if it's there, or even 2. But when it's plastered, they will notice it. They'll read it, and they'll take 1 down. They can't help themselves, and they'll call you. Do this consistently every week for months to create a buzz and an awareness in your area. When people see these all the time, they start saying, what on earth is this pill? It's interesting how back in the Cambridge days in the 80s, Cambridge came out pretty strong, but it wasn't until about into the second year that everyone was hearing about Cambridge and asking for it. It was talked about on television. It was like craziness. And you want to kind of create that's viral, going viral. You want it to be a buzz in your area. So this plaster plan really works. You can meet up with these individuals at personal launch meetings. And if you team up with launch meetings at community centers and coffee shops and places like that, it makes it better for people that you don't know. I mean, I don't like strangers to show up at my house. I just don't like that. So if I'm doing something like this and I'm really blasting and plastering and blitzing the area, I will definitely set up like we have community clubhouses here, or I may set it up at Panera Bread Store. There's a great little restaurant here on the water that's called Waters, and it has a buffet room that rents out for $35. That's nothing to put something together, and that's where you would tell them to meet. And that could go on your voicemail. If you're interested in this, blah, 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 whatever. And you can just figure that out, what you want to put on that voicemail and where to meet. All right, and you also leave stacks of these. This is another thing that I've done. And put them in nail salons. I was just getting my nails done yesterday, and I noticed their counter would be a great place that you could ask them if you could set some flyers. And some of them will let you, others won't, but you don't lose anything by asking. Salons are another place. Chiropractic offices, I noticed he had quite a few different flyers. Even my doctor, MD, has different flyers for different things. And since they're small, and they four up on a page so that they're small, they're easy to set there. One thing I did for opening a new area, which was kind of fun, is I'd even gone into like Coco's restrooms, so they're restaurant restrooms, and I would stack a stack by where the women wash their hands and things. And I always got calls from that. It's very interesting. It's funny, but it's just a plaster plan. You're just trying to shake bushes so that you maybe can find yourself, a Nancy Feinberg, someone that's going to really go with it. Okay? So that's what plaster plan is, and I just want you to really be creative with where you're going to put these flyers. Even schools, apartment buildings are great, but just look around where there are bulletin boards, and I give you that project to find that, because this is a way to shake the bushes. And there again, I've had people say it's not going to work, and it does work. Okay? Now, the next area, and that's called the plaster plan, so you got the flyers for that. The next area is boiler rooming it, and I've done this to start every company. This is where, and just like it sounds, a boiler room, and I call it also sizzle sessions. I want you to start thinking about booking sizzle sessions or boiler rooming it, where you team up in one location all together, and you all bring your Prospect 200 lists and your cell phones. Now, we've done this even in hotel lobbies where we've just passed the phone back and forth. You dovetail your conversations by passing the phones back and forth to each associate. A couple of you, maybe there's 10 of you in a room. An example, you're talking to Paul, and after you tell Paul how excited you are, and you tell your story, then you say, listen to this. This is John. He's going to tell you about his story. Then you kind of exchange phones. You just go back and forth. It's called boiler rooming it or sizzle sessions. And this is how we've always jump-started companies. We did this back with the Starlight Company, as there were 3 of us that were partners in that company, and we boiler roomed it for a solid week, and we were in Monterey, right there on the peninsula at the Hotel Monterey Hotel, and we just passed the phone, I'd say, and Bob Middleton happened to be one of our partners, and we'd say, Bob, okay, this is Bob Middleton, he's going to tell you what's happening, da-da-da-da. And it just creates that excitement of it actually getting things going again. And, I want you to revisit some of the people you've already talked to and boiler room it and have them listen to these stories when they can hear that there's more than just you that are excited. It's like an in-person 3-way, but beyond that, it goes into 3 or 4 of you passing the phones around. It's very, very, very fun. Okay, I want you to also look at summer shows. Summer shows. Sign up, wear matching shirts, and follow the guidelines at burgessbiz.com under the Team Tips and Tools. And there again, in the section, if you also look under the tab where it talks about events, there's a whole thing on how you do trade shows. And this guidelines are very exact. I have done some trade shows, but I've also talked to people that are professional trade show people, so they gave me some great guidelines there. If your team's going to do trade shows, and make sure you team it up, please do a conference call with me on that, the whole team that's going to do that, so I can kind of give you some specifics, because the main people that you're going to target are going to be the people that are actually doing the booths. If you get there early enough, those people have the ambition. And, of course, you'll have to use that raffle ticket that's there, which is your free drawing, and utilize that raffle ticket a lot of different venues that you are shaking the bushes. The diet dollars, use these as incentives. Bring a friend, you get a couple of diet dollars off. Buy tonight, which is a deadline, you get a diet dollar discount. Mailers, thank you notes, send them out. Gosh, we've worked in business before, I want to thank you, and here's a diet dollar towards blah, blah, blah. These 3. Just download them, write your name and phone number, and then print them out. And you use those just for fun. There's kind of a play money thing, but they're incentives. When I did skincare years ago, and I did it for 8 years before I got involved in the diet business, I used to sell more skincare than anybody can believe. And this is in Utah 1,000 years ago when skincare was running you about $4 to $5 a bottle for something. And yet I was making about $5,000 a month, and that's unheard of. That would be like $50,000 a month nowadays. But it was because I used incentives. You know, if I was talking to the BYU Cougar group of girls or ladies, I would have a Cougar kit. I mean, I was always creating ways to make things work, okay? And I would always offer beauty bucks at that point, where I call them diet dollars. So I want you just to think of ways that you can use these incentives. When you're out there and you're meeting people, you can utilize these diet dollars and just say, you know what, come Tuesday night, bring a friend, and I'll give you a couple of these diet dollars. You know, whatever you want to do. People do anything for some sort of a discount, so it's really a lot of fun. Now we're going to talk about the sampling station. This is where Tony Rich sat and talked to me for a good half hour. He was so excited about this sampling station that he has available at your websites that you can go in, and I'm not sure of the pricing on it. I know that the great big booth one is going to have, and they're going to talk about that Monday, is going to have a rental type thing that you can rent that, and then your rent goes towards a purchase over time if you do more than one big show. But that's for a great big booth. It's an awesome, awesome display. But this sampling station is very cool, and he was telling me statistics on it that it was getting a 98% success on it, and how it's done is that you open it up and it folds up into a little case, and you'll see it. I have it pictured actually under Team Tips and Tools there, that unfolds, and it's very cool, and it has a little shelf, and they had one in the office there, and I went immediately over to it, and I said, this is like so cool, but it's a sampling station, and he said you set it up, and this is where it gets into guerrilla marketing. You set it up in a parking lot. He says go to Walmart parking lots and set on one side a sampling station and you know, have balloons and have one person giving away balloons to kids, and you say, oh my gosh, you've got to try this V3, this is the hottest thing going, blah, blah, blah. Give them a sample, you know, and tell them to take it on their way in, and then when they come out and say, oh my gosh, I feel great, I want that. And he said it works, and this is what's referred to as guerrilla marketing, where you set these things up, and so you're paying no fees for going to a show. You're in the parking lot. Now, if someone from Walmart, he says, comes out and says, well, and maybe this is like after an hour being out there or 2 hours, he says, and they come out and say, you know, you really can't be here. He says, just say, oh, I'm so sorry, and then fold it back up, and then as soon as they go in, go put it on the other side of Walmart. He says, just move it around. And he says, it's guerrilla marketing. You are trying to get a buzz and get people to see, and you're all in matching shirts, you're all got your buttons on, you've got some balloons, you've got the sampling station up because it just unfolds, and it's just fantastic. And I think as a team, you ought to get together and figure out how soon you can get one of these sampling stations. And you can do that at kiosk type in malls. You can do it at street fairs, and they're just fantastic. It's just, you've got to think of ways that where you can put this sampling station, but it's outside of I was at Target yesterday, and someone had something set out there, and I don't know, some organization, and you can do them anywhere. But he really recommended the Walmart parking lots because he said they're always packed with people. He said people walking in need the product, which I thought was funny. And he said, just have fun with this. So I want you to really think of ways that you can plaster plan areas, find the bulletin boards out there, set up those sampling stations, shake the bushes, have pool parties, have barbecues, picnics. You know, it's places like this that you can go to. I know that on the 4th of July, we have people come with vending people come to the parking lot of our church where we can go and we have live bands and all this other stuff and a barbecue and stuff, and that's maybe somewhere you can do that. I want you just to think of places that you can set that sampling station up, run ads, flyers. I've even done things where I've stapled an elastic band to a flyer and put it on a door, and you can do that as well. And I'm going to have my daughter-in-law do a full-page flyer for that reason, that you can put that right on a doorknob, and you just hang that on a doorknob, or whatever. You can't put them in the mailboxes. I've tried that in the past years and years ago, and you get in trouble for that. But you can put it around that, and you can. What I used to take when my kids were real small is we would take my kids out, and they would just plaster the area, put them on the door handles. And there again, how many are going to call you? I don't know, but what if a few do? That's all you're looking for, is a few people. You're trying to get the word out. And there again, you can utilize that cute little flyer that's the Happy Pill flyer that's there. You could even put that in a small paper and what's that called, a display ad, and it's not going to cost you very much. Penny savers, different things. But just think of ways that you can, there again, shake the bushes, find people, and share your product with them. So that's basically what Guerrilla Training is. So I'm going to wish all the mothers out there a happy Mother's Day tomorrow. And also, I want you all to say goodbye and announce yourself or whatever you want to do. So I'm going to open up the call. Hold on one second.